No.
Matt, what did I tell you? Well, I told you could go crazy.
Yeah, you did, and it hasn't even started yet.
No.
I'll hold back.
We're in trouble.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1057, April 14th, 2023. The record high on this day was 89 degrees in 2003. It was 18 degrees on two occasions, 1826. I don't know how that snuck in there. I didn't think we kept records that far back. And 1928, and I have ice outs. Minnetonka went out on this day in 1977, 1887, 1918, 1932, 1941, 1961,
Is that it?
and 2011.
Got it.
White Bear Lake went out on this day in 1961, 1983, and again in 1984. And ladies and gentlemen, it is the Garage Logic opener.
Oh, right there.
It's 75 degrees.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology
me a
Corner,
sound here.
Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Height in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
In honor of it being
The radio's on, and the common sense is flowing freely.
really a lot of planning here, isn't there?
Like a teenager in the backseat of a car on a Saturday night. He's a little eager.
In honor of it being the opener, we're joined by Jeff Dayton, who's joined us at the fair a couple of times. He's in town.
Thanks, Joe.
Tonight, Jeff Dayton is at the Music Cafe in Excelsior, but unfortunately, we think that's sold out.
I believe it is. It usually does. Right.
And
to the
tomorrow
point.
night, you're at
nice
Crooners in Fridley.
Actually, no. Crooners was last week. We had to reschedule. So,
Okay, so you're in town just to do Excelsior.
Yeah, but I'm here just to do Garage Logic.
To do Garage Logic.
Right.
I mean, really, I wouldn't skip this date.
No, I know you wouldn't. I
Talk
know
about
you
a
wouldn't.
kid in the back seat who's eager, man. I'm happy to be here.
Keep your distance, please. Thank you.
We got to run through some biographical information because I'm intrigued by this. Because at one point you were a resident of Matamidi,
Yes, sir.
but then you moved.
Yes, sir.
The family moved to.
Oh, I moved.
You moved.
Yeah, the family stayed.
You left.
Yeah, they said, "What are you going to do?"
Were you
when
caught
grow up?"
smoking behind the high school? That kind of thing.
No, Monterey. Matamidi was a short-lived little, stopgap.
Okay, then you went to Orono.
No, I was done at Matamidi. I actually graduated in
What
Matamidi.
year?
Nah, it was before yesterday.
Again, like we said.
I want to know because
A while ago.
I have siblings who graduated from Matamidi.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Other times, some
No,
other
maybe.
time.
Yeah, I might have gone to school with them. You know.
And if the name is familiar, you're a cousin of the Daytons, as in Dayton.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have strong Minnesota roots.
I am proud to be a Minnesotan, and I'm proud to be a Dayton.
And were you a native? Were you born in Minnesota?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Born in Abbott Hospital in the old days.
I'll be damned.
Hey,
And then-
so was I.
Yeah. And then you went on, and look at you. And then you went on to,
Guys are great.
you went on to some, and you continued to enjoy some great musical notoriety. You were Glenn Campbell's band director.
Yes, sir.
And you played with him.
Sure did.
And in fact, you have the ability to play his songs because you've licensed them correctly,
Same answer.
right? And now do you live in Nashville?
Yes, I do.
And-
I've been
and-
there 23 years now.
23 years.
I
in
hear it's a
Nashville.
24-year town, so I'm
John
sticking around.
John and I just had this discussion. Is it the coolest city in America?
Well, it's the it city
Yeah.
in America, especially for music and partying. You know.
Well, last night the Wild lost in
I
overtime
watched the game.
at Nashville,
I
and
saw
I
it.
thought the crowd was completely dead. I thought that was an unimaginative crowd in Nashville. But I haven't even checked the sports pages today, but I don't think Nashville made the playoffs.
They did not.
So
They did
the
not?
crowd
Well,
was...
the Wild did, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're playing like big boy hockey here on, right?
And right now your career is touring. Are you on an endless tour like Bob Dylan?
I have so much going on in my life, Joe.
Well, tell us
touring-
a little bit of it. We have John Height with his guitar.
Come on, John.
Yeah.
How about you?
Huh?
Yeah, my brother on the guitar. We've had both times at the state fair. He's been over there just jamming.
Yeah.
Doing great.
I asked these guys to ask you, ask Jeff, make sure it's okay. Everybody said, nah, don't worry about it. Jeff won't care.
Man, I love the company.
Yeah,
I
good.
do, and you're a great player.
Well, thanks.
And all you guys are good guys.
Okay.
You try to put on, but you're all great guys.
But you don't know how much of a respite this is. It's the opener in Garage Logic, which is the ceremonial uplifting of the garage door during the Friday when it first hits 70 during the show.
Oh, I just hit 70.
Right. So we've had a long. That's neither here nor there. We've had a long.
Let you in there. You let you in a little bit.
We've had a long.
There's a clue.
We've had a long, lingering winter, so this is a much anticipated garage door opener. So for 2023, we'll note that it was April 14th. Plus the news. We've ended up, Jeff, kind of chronicling the end of the United States as we know it, and today's a great way to take a break from that because I'm not going into most of the stuff we talked about before the show.
Right.
Well, there's always next week
Right.
to get to that. And I came in, and I always catch a lot of grief, Jeff, from John Haidt.
What?
Who constantly questions, well, he questions everything I say, but he really questions my musical taste or my musical knowledge.
He's not the only
Well,
one.
Yeah,
you
Kenny
brought-
questions your taste.
We've been together on air when you've brought up some cool little tidbits that these young pups don't know nothing about.
Thank you.
And there's good value in that history. You know,
But I blew the history today
no.
because I came in singing Every Night by Paul McCartney.
Hey, John, you ever heard of this
And
one?
I said, I made the mistake to John. I said, well, do you know this song by McCartney? I just heard a Rodney Crowell version.
Oh,
You know
really?
Rodney probably.
Of course, yeah. I've seen him several times.
And he did a nice version of Every Night. I heard it on the radio yesterday by Paul McCartney, and I'm relaying this to John as though I have something revelatory. So this is something new. And John just yawned and said, "Well, he released it 53 years ago." It was when he was on his farm in Scotland. He was playing all the instruments.
Yeah, it was the Bowl of Cherries album.
Yes, and you two are going to.
Everybody
Are
had
you
that.
two going to struggle your way through it?
Are we?
I
Well,
didn't
Jeff,
know that.
Well, give us parts of every
Well,
night. I just want to go
we have-
out,
do we have-
get
or
out
we
of
can-
my head.
Okay. We're going to do this? Every night I just want to go out of my head. Every night I just want to stay out of my bed. Every night I want to play out. And every day I want to do. But tonight I just want to stay and be with you. Yeah. And be with you.
No.
2, 3, 4. Come on, girls.
All right, here we go.
Believe me, mama.
Every day I lean on a lamppost. Oh, I'm a little off.
Wasting my time. Every night I lay on a pillow.
Go, Joe. I'm resting my mind.
Come on now.
Every morning. I'm not going to sing. Oh, please. I'm like Don Knotts. Turn on my microphone.
Every night I want to. But tonight I just want to sit here and be with y'all, you crazy boys in here. And be with you. Not yet. Wait, 2, 3, go. If Paul could only hear
Wow.
it, believe me, mama. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, that is so neat.
You know,
Joe, you sound like an alley cat caught in a rat trap.
I was just going to say, Kenny, the part about us with the copyright stuff, that's what's going to get us sued.
Yeah.
Is Joe singing.
Joe, guys, one rule of being in the band: the singer is always right. So if he cuts
Ain't
into
that
that
the
chorus
I was
early,
never allowed to
go
sing.
with it.
I was never allowed.
I was thinking how ironic it was that Paul used to have to take static because he let Linda sing. Just think if he'd heard all this going on.
Well, John, you let Yoko sing, so I can't be worse than
That
that.
was a different thing altogether.
That's a horse of a different color.
Are you continually writing music?
All the time? Yeah.
Yeah. What's the process?
I actually have a chapter in my book. I'm working on a book, and one of the subtitles is The Process. Believe it or not. You hit it right. As Glenn would say, you really hit the nail with your head on that one.
Yeah.
The process usually for me begins with a title, because if you don't have an engine, you can line up boxcars, but they ain't going nowhere. So I try to come up with a great idea. And then if I've got an idea, then I can kind of aim all the arrows at that target. So wherever that bullseye is, the title is king, and then we know what to focus on. So, like, for example, there's a song I wrote about Glenn's Alzheimer's, Glenn Campbell's, called Long Slow Train Out of Town. And
you came up. You began with that title.
well, that was where I started, and then I realized that I had a line. A lifetime full of memories are empty boxcars now on a long, slow train out of town.
Wow.
You want to do it for us? Or don't you play that song?
I tell you what, you guys play it off the record.
We can play it off the record.
And my daughter Carrie's actually singing on the record, too. So,
But writing songs, writing lyrics seem easy. Writing music
does?
seems impossible.
Well,
no, I don't mean to cheap. I'm not cheaping. I'm just saying.
I got
Okay,
you.
writing lyrics seems easier than writing. How do you write music?
Well, I have something in mind whenever I'm putting lyrics together. So if I'm working on an idea, I kind of know that I'm not going to do one thing, I'm going to do another, sort of. Like if I'm feeling a groove, I have a new song called Tropical Troubadour. I wanted kind of a New Orleans second line. I felt the music since I was a kid. I'm more like my dad than my mom would admit. I love the water and I play guitar. I guess the apple doesn't fall too far. I dig an E to a G-sharp chord. Sometimes I sleep in my 89 Ford. Whoa, whoa, I'm just a tropical troubadour. Like that.
Wow. Okay.
And so if you've got any experience with the groove that you want to put together, then you just do it. Now, there's a song on the new record, another one, that I wrote with fifth graders from Minnewaska Elementary School.
Yeah,
And
that's out Minnetonka way.
Oh, I remember you telling us about this at the fair.
Yeah, and that song ended up on the record.
Oh, that's so cool.
A song I co-wrote with 8 fifth graders who were special needs kids.
Oh, yeah.
So, get your mind blown, set an expectation, and have a special needs fifth grader knock it right out of the park.
How old were you when you left Minnesota?
Well, I left for Phoenix after being here for quite a while. I played with some pretty good people.
Well, the reason I'm asking is when you're writing and you're thinking about writing, is there any Minnesota in you that comes out? Was there anything about
sure.
your being raised here that would be reflected in what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Minnesota's such a crossroads. And if you look at the Minnesota music history, we've got polka. We had Wally Pickle and all these different guys. We had the blues people up here, Willie Murphy and the Bees.
Yep.
And even before that, we had John Kerner, Kerner, Glover, and Ray. We had... the folk thing, we had great people. Dylan was here for crying out loud.
Right.
I played the whole coffee house with a Canadian singer-songwriter in 1971. And I tell you what, that's where Dylan played. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get any better as far as folk music in Minneapolis back then. It was a Kaufman Union down in the basement. Mm-hmm. When we had hard rock and roll, and then we had all the country guys like, Silver Sheets to Lie On. John Blankety wrote that from Minnesota. And Dave Dudley. 6 days on the road and I'm
He's a Minnesota guy?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Have you met Dylan?
No, I have not.
No.
Although Kevin Odegaard, who I was in his band in 1976, had just played on...
Blood in the Tracks. Yeah.
That's Kevin's guitar on the front of that record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time out. What would you say if you met Bob Dylan? What would the conversation I mean, you're meeting a legend, but
Would you go Farley on it?
I would just dude.
You know what? You go Chris Farley.
and that's it. And then just walk away because anything else you say is stupid. You know?
Well, how do you talk to that guy? I mean, not that he's difficult, but I wouldn't know what to say that would be anything but annoying.
Right. I know what you're saying.
To a guy like that. Hey, I love your writing. Thank you for the music. I met Steve Winwood one time in Nashville at a rehearsal facility, and I said, "Hey, is your name Steve?" He goes, "Yeah, are you going to Bonnaroo?" I said, "No, we're going to Horton, Kansas." Right? and I said, I played with Glenn. Oh, tell Glenn hello, And I said, all I can say is thanks for the music.
Jeff, you should ask Joe if he and Patrick have ever had the chance to meet Bob Dylan.
I've got a real noir memory of
I love
Dylan.
that. What do you got?
Well, didn't you guys chase him around?
Well, he was at a Twins game
No way.
at the Metrodome, yes.
Wow.
Probably with Jacob, who would then have been 8 or whatever.
Wow.
And he left in the 7th inning, and Royce and I nudged each other and said, let's get him. Let's follow him. We wanted him to sing for the All-Star game. When the All-Star game was in the Metrodome in 1985.
Wow.
And we had made a joke of it on the radio. Let's get Dylan. And Dylan imitators were calling the radio show and pretending they were willing to do it. But there's the real Bob. He's going up the aisle. We left the press box, followed him out of the Metrodome. He walks across the street and pauses under a street light and lights a cigarette. Then he got into a great big Chevrolet station wagon with a lot of kids and some other adult who might have been, I don't know, is he a brother or a buddy or whatever?
Rick Dylan.
No, and he drove away, and we never did get to talk to him, obviously, but we were pretty damn close to him.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeff,
that's it. That's not much of a story, is it?
No, but it
much of
points
a
this
story,
out,
but-
though. It points out that Sports Talk used to be a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you know Lamont Cranston, local band?
Yeah, here's the thing. Quarterbacks never get to play catch. And they were always doing their thing, and I was always doing my thing. I saw them down at the Caboose back in the day.
Yeah.
And Bruce McCabe from that band was in the Kevin Odegaard band at the beginning of that.
Oh, cool. So I'm buddies with Larry Hayes, who played rhythm in that band. And he said in the 70s, Dylan was trying to hide out from the public, and he was staying on the couch that they all lived in this big house, and Dylan was hiding out, sleeping on the couch. He said they'd bring a girl home at 3 a.m. from a gig. They'd walk in, and the girl would see Dylan sitting there. And it was all over. It was just over.
Oh, man. That is something. That is something.
When you're playing tonight in Excelsior, for example, do you have a band, or is it just you?
I have 2 guys with me,
Oh, you
2
do?
of my favorites, Gary Lopak on the bass and Jason Kraft on the keys. He's playing a Hammond organ through a Leslie speaker. Just insanely good guy.
Do you ever perform with a fuller band,
Oh,
including
yeah.
drums?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've had we call it the cool crew, actually, the extra large band. Can't take Lyle Lovett's band's name because he is a lot. But 4 horns, 2 drummers, percussion, just
Really?
loaded up.
Really?
And that's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a wall of noise. It's kind of like me playing with John. We're just a wall of noise. But I love doing that. And, sometimes you can do that. Sometimes the budget allows, and or sometimes you just don't care, and you call a bunch of great guys and you say, let's have a magic moment. So
How many kids do you have?
I have 5.
I hope you have an estate plan.
Well, they get whatever's left over. Our old booking agent used to say.
No, I'm doing an ad. See,
Okay. Well, our old booking agent Roger Adams used to say, "Being of sound mind, I spent it all."
You'll have nothing and like it.
Jeff, we have friends called Eckberg Lammers. They're a law firm. They've been preparing estate plans for people for 75 years. But just as importantly, they'll help you with succession planning if you are in a small business and things have to move along and you want to take care of it with your family. It's very common to have the kids in the family have different interests. So they take care of that and make it smooth. If you're going to be transitioning to employees, you need to make sure you have the proper structure in place to allow for the transition. And what you've built, you don't want to lost. You don't want it lost. You don't want to turn it over to the government and have them get their hands on it. You want to keep it out of court and reduce your tax implications. And leave everything very smooth, and don't start going George W. on me. You want to keep the family business in the family and create stability and continuity for businesses and their owners. Call Eckberg Lammers at 651. No, that's Rob O'Brien's number.
Let's
call.
Let's get on the lamb.
Let's call Eckberg Lammers.
Or call Rob O'Brien.
He can help you.
Let's call Eckberg Lammers at 651-439-2878 or visit Eckberg Lammers at eckberglammers.com.
I think that was the number for Beek's Pizza.
Oh,
Hit what?
Oh, you're playing Jeff.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes.
This guy wears many hats.
I don't
just
walk
not
straight
indoors.
and narrow.
Joe
I don't
Souchere.
care if people stare or not. No, I don't need no criticizing. People try to change my mind. So what? 'Cause I can't wear somebody else's shoes. I can only be me, win or lose. So walk with me, stand by me, and live like we like and we love. We'll ride the tide with sails on high, fearless and reckless and tough. I dance like I feel it. I call
I'm going
it
to tell
like I
Jeff my
see
fantasy
it.
when
I sing
Kenny's
like
done.
I was born.
Using Seafoam motor treatment in your fuel tank gives you one less thing to worry about this summer. It works in your engine. It does not work in your guitar. That's your problem. A lot of people might not realize most preventable engine problems, they start right in the fuel system. Seafoam can help that. It cleans harmful gum and varnish from the entire system, helping your engine run better, start faster, and last longer. And it works the same magic on all your engines, no matter what kind it is or how big. Seafoam is the ticket. You can find it anywhere. Truly a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Seafoam.
When can I fly to Nashville,
Yeah,
meet you at the studio,
yeah.
and play the drums on one song in recording?
My God.
You know what? I would welcome that, and I would set that up just for you.
Oh, boy.
And
Guess we're doing the show on the road, boys.
Let's go.
pack your bags, boys. We're going on a guilt trip. Yeah, come on down. I mean, if I'm home, you're in. I'll make it work.
No, he can get in if you're not.
So one song
You can
with
get
Joe
it if
on
you-
drums is about a 10-hour session or so.
No, we can fix.
Johnny,
We can fix a lot of stuff.
Johnny, you're not
That's
going to
true.
fly, but
That's
we're going to
true.
road trip to Nashville.
Yeah, you like to drive, huh?
I love it. I just did it 2 weeks ago. I drove
Oh,
through
sorry.
Nashville.
What an honor that would be.
I would love it. I think that you're honored that I'm the.
No,
I mean,
no,
you know,
don't go humble pie.
Okay.
Just
But I don't
accommodate
roll.
him.
I
and-
try not to roll any other
Jeff,
way. I put on my humble hat and then my grateful face, and that would be the way to
The
go.
song we bump back with, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
the
one
name
of
of
my
it?
song?
It's called "Live My Truth."
And what album is that on?
"Live My Truth," and also on the Long Slow Train album.
Okay.
So again, when you're writing that, you knew it was going to kind of be a little upbeat song.
Well,
that
here's
you
what
would-
happened. Yeah, here's the story. I was writing at a little publishing company that didn't last 2 years, and they had their plugger, the guy who's like the realtor for the songs. He said, "Hey, I'm looking for a song. I'm going to meet this group in about 15 minutes, and I need a song that's up-tempo and positive on life." I said, "Okay, I can do that." He said, "Well, have you got it?" I said, "Well, I'm going to write it." And he goes, "Well, you haven't even got a demo." I said, "Well, I don't need but 15 minutes. I'll have it." He goes, crazy. I'm leaving." And I said, "Well, I'm going in the kitchen, write it anyway." And so I did. And I just started, and it fell out in 20 minutes. So that's how it happened. And I had an idea, "Live Your Truth," the day before, and I thought that was too preachy. So just talk about me. You know, people are more interested in you sharing the truth than telling somebody else what to believe. You know.
Do you write every day? And if so, is it a set time you must do it?
No, it's just I have gotten so used to writing, though, Joe, that I can write on demand. So if you said, "Come up with something right now," it'd be really stupid probably, but I could do it.
It's the garage door opener in Garage Logic. It's the first Friday. that has hit 70. We've been through the mill with heavy, heavy topics, and today we're lightening our souls. The garage door is open. The sun is shining. It's 75 degrees. Your name is Jeff Dayton, and you just stumbled into the town of Garage Logic, which is the seat of Gumption County.
Yeah. What? And
Yeah, so
and you will be performing.
is that in order?
You will be performing at the Knack Hardware and Lounge.
John just had pizza for lunch, and
The town dog is 2 cycles.
and I'm
Yes.
about to light another dart. One more question, Jeff.
I need
about
that all written down, and then I can go. Yeah. So
one more question about writing. Is it easier
Don't
for
write it.
you to
Don't write it. Pay
write
attention.
under pressure? Like if you just sat down in the middle of the day with nothing to do and said, "I'm going to write a song," would it be harder than the guy coming in and saying, "I need one in 15 minutes"?
well, I don't know. I mean, every day is different. Some of them get delivered, and you don't have a thing to do with it. You're just the pencil.
Yeah.
And "Live My Truth" was one of those. That song "Chillo" came together faster than any other song at that school last year. The one that I wrote with the kids, it's like this. Look at me, just relaxing on a beach, with nothing on my mind at all. Watching the sand crabs crawl. Lemonade, big umbrella in the shade, grooving to a Potions tune on a perfect afternoon when it's 76 degrees. Whoa, I'm chillo, floating on a feather pillow, living on island style, feeling like I'm in my prime. Yeah, I'm mellow, cool as a big bowl of Jello, sipping life through a straw. Nothing bothers me at all. Like that.
I did.
Perfect.
Damn.
Perfect.
And the kids came up. I had said "chillo" in a talk to the kids, and they went, "That's." And then the kids went, "Can we write that?" I said, "Sure. There's your title," and get to work. And they come up with things like a drink, a straw, the shade, and all this stuff. And then Uncle Jeffro here just glues it all together. And I get whatever you're plugging for glue out, and we just fasten a song together.
John,
Yeah.
do you write as much as Dylan writes?
no.
But John's son is an extraordinary artist.
Dylan, not Bob Dylan, Jeff, but
Dylan
Dylan,
Height.
my son.
Dylan Height. Oh, yeah.
He writes continuously, pretty much. And in fact, he doesn't even like to mess with learning other songs and playing covers. He thinks he's kind of done with that.
What does that say, Joe?
Am I right?
Joe can't write a 3
That's what I was
and
gonna say.
8.
I will
Knack
write.
Hardware and Lounge.
What's that?
Knack.
Knack Hardware and Lunch?
Lounge,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
And I really tried to write that carefully, but I can't make certain letters.
Say, I'll write it for you.
Well, it's 75 degrees in Gumption County.
All right.
Oh, boy.
I'm sitting here at the Garage Logic Saloon, and the Knack Hardware's right down the street from here. And them knuckleheads are gonna be home soon. Here at Garage Logic, it's a perfect day. Here at Garage Logic, Joe got something to say. They're gonna talk about living the American way. Here at Garage Logic, in the good old USA. Woo!
Wow.
Wow.
There's
F
a
and
jingle.
A. I say F and A.
Wow.
That's
I've been
now
doing it a
going to
million
be
years.
played on the occasion of every opener.
That was good.
All right.
John, nice leads there too, by the way.
That's
wow.
what he's there for.
I take all the bad things I've said about you behind your back. I'll take it all
See,
back.
Jeff is the only secret one. He knows this. He knows I'll never catch on to the chords quick enough, so I just doodle while he's singing.
Well, that worked. It
it's
really
all right.
worked.
That's a good teamwork, though. Knowing your spot.
How close are you to Jimmy Buffett?
Actually, yesterday I was in the airport in Nashville, and there was a guy that had the bird on the dove on the guitar, on the guitar neck, and I was like, that looks like a Woodstock emblem. And he goes, yeah, we were just there. I said, oh man, who are you playing with? He said, well, I do sound for Jimmy Buffett.
I'll be damned.
Nice.
Jim Mayer, his bass player, been there for 30 years. Jim and I are real close pals. There's a cool video on my Instagram of Jim and me. We were having lobster hoity-toity by the beach in Key West last fall. But I wish I were closer to those guys because they're the heck of a band, you know.
Yeah.
And I would love to, hang out with Mac McAnally, who's that songwriter that, has been with him forever. I got songs for Jimmy. I mean, Cello would be a good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking about him when you were playing it.
No kidding.
Yeah. It would work.
What's your favorite Glenn Campbell tune?
My favorite is The Highwayman.
Okay.
I'll give you 2 seconds of it because I have it. It's licensed, so I don't think you have to worry.
We're not, and I don't care. So.
Okay. I was a highwayman, upon the coach roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side. Many young maid lost her baubles to my trade. Many a soldier shed his lifeblood on my blade. They buried me in the spring of 25, but I'm still alive. I was a sailor, I was born upon the tide, and with the sea I did abide. I sailed the schooner around the Horn to Mexico, went aloft to furl the mainsail in a blow. When the yards broke off, they say that I got killed, but I am living still. I'll skip to Johnny Cash, okay?
Yeah.
I'll fly a starship across the universe divide, and when I reach the other side, I'll find a place to rest my spirit if I can. Sorry, John. Perhaps I may become a highwayman again, or I may simply be a single drop of rain, but I will remain, and I'll be back again and again. Come on, guys. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Oh, that's manly.
Where do both you and John place Campbell in the pantheon of modern music?
Well, your witness.
Glenn Campbell, in the pantheon, I'd call him. He made some great records, pop records, and he made some great country records, and he's a phenomenal guitar player, a lot of people don't know that. You can find clips online that are amazing. Also, and Jeff would speak better to this, I'm guessing a guy who could fly by the seat of his pants with no problem. There's a great clip, if you've never seen it. It was, I think, from the 90s or 2000s on the show in Great Britain that Jules Holland hosts. I don't remember the name of the show.
I've seen that
where
show.
he does Wichita Lineman, and brilliant. It's just a wonder. It's amazing. And the vocals, he changes up the way he sings the vocals. Perhaps he did that nightly, Jeff. I don't know. And the solo is, on the record you hear the Marlboro Man solo, with the bass. But on there, he plays just a phenomenal solo on a Strat. And but to me, he was always brilliant. Wichita Lineman, when I was a kid, was one of my favorite records. I just think it's the perfect pop
Isn't
record.
it cool the influence that he had on musicians of all genres?
Yeah.
That's what's really fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, just Steve Winwood, for example, giving his respect, showing the love for Glenn and everybody.
Paul Westerberg.
Oh, yeah. I know they did that thing together. They did one song together.
Ghost, Ghost
Something
on the
about
Canvas.
crows.
Ghost on the Canvas,
Ghost on
too.
the Canvas.
Westerberg wrote, and Glenn covered it.
Yep, Glenn did a really good version of Jackson Brown's These Days on that record.
Yeah.
And, that's one of my faves of Jackson's.
That's another thing that you just pointed out. He had great taste in the songs he did. And I'm assuming he himself came. A lot of people, producers will throw stuff at you, say, "Here, record this."
Yeah.
But everything he seemed to record, came from great songwriters. John Hartford, Jeff. Jeff, again, Jeff, you know better.
Well,
than
yeah, and Glenn used to say, I've been blessed with good songs. He said, I sure am glad that I had taste like that. He says, otherwise I would have been singing for 50 years. I would have had to sing the Peppermint Twist.
Come on, baby, let's do that twist. What was he like to work for?
Back to Highwayman for a second. He told me this story that you probably won't hear it anywhere, but he recorded The Highwayman as an album title, and Capitol didn't care for the song, and so Glenn didn't care for Capitol. And and 6 years later, when the guys got together to be the Highwaymen, they didn't even have that name. They just had nothing. And Glenn said, "Guys, I got the perfect song. It's got 4 verses. You can each sing a verse, and I'll even come in the studio and show you how it goes." Well, this is the part you won't read anywhere probably, but. He said Christopherson turned to Willie during the recording. He said, "I think I blew my voice." And Willie says, "Well, how can you tell?"
Yeah, Chris, great songwriter, singer, not so much.
Well, the thing is, the heart comes through no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And I've learned that about. Joe singing, you guys not doing but the guy's got heart, and I can't wait. You got to sing on whatever you play drums on too.
No, man, you don't want me to sing.
No,
Yes,
I do.
we do.
I do. Okay, I got a song you guys might. Every time I walk in here, this place smells like a stale old beer. I find out sitting by some bar stool genius. Well, I always mind my business, yeah, but he gives me the business back. So I do my best to keep some space between us. Doesn't matter what's on TV, he goes on and on at me. But he don't know that I ain't even listening. 'Cause I'm walking circles in my head, thinking about my ice-cold bed and empty house, wishing I was fishing. Well, life is a mystery where I'm preceded by my history.
What am I doing?
The answer is I haven't got a clue.
I already blew the song.
I know my meant-to-be is out there searching for me. All but my next ex is looking for me too. Yeah, my next ex is looking for me too.
Oh, yeah. Rook's the one who can sing.
No.
Rook can sing.
On every night you were singing. You had the woo.
You were always on my mind.
I got to play with Willie. I played guitar.
What was he
for him.
like?
He
Was
was
higher
cool.
than a kite?
I can't speak to that. I wasn't
How
on the
can you
bus.
tell? How can you tell?
How can you tell? But he did make a very late entrance when he was introduced. Black tie crowd, Angie Dickinson, James Garner, Gene Autry's there, for crying out loud.
Wow.
And we're his band for the night.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
And my band, the Jeff Dayton band.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? But, I got my start here in the Twin Cities. My first big gig was playing on Lunch with Casey.
Really?
Wow.
And you were talking about, somebody like showing up, unexpected. And I forget what it was, but we were at we can say it because it's an extinct station, WTCN 11 at the Calhoun Beach Hotel.
Yeah.
And the studio was up in one of the upper floors.
Yeah.
And it was a sunny, I forget what day, it might have been a Saturday. And up pulls his Cadillac convertible with Casey in it, wearing sunglasses and smoking a big old stogie makes your little dart,
Like Kenny.
your little dart look like a pencil, And I'm like, Casey, saying ain't so, man. I was 12 and I'm looking at my hero smoking a stogie.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. And Roundhouse Rodney was on the show. And
Were you ever on Axel's Treehouse? Remember that show?
I do.
Axel and his
Clellan
dog?
Card. We
Clellan
saw him at the Old Log Theater
Yeah.
back when I was a kid. Mom
Yeah.
took me out to see him.
Yeah.
But years later, there was a guy in town named Jim Barber, and he had a cable show with Roger Awesome, Casey, and they had a later version of Casey, and Jim was our comedian at our theater in Branson. He was from Rapid City. And so he brought Roger down to town one time, and I got to shake the hand of the guy that gave me my start on television.
Did you perform on that show?
Yeah, we weren't just there to get the grab bags, you know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we had a little band. It was Billy Waldron, Tom Wells, Pat Kelly, and myself. And we did The Crusher and Twist and Shout.
Really?
You remember The Crusher?
Oh, yeah. Do the Crusher.
Yeah.
Do the Hammerlock.
The Hammerlock, yeah.
Do the Hammerlock. Do the eye gouge.
Reggie Lasowski.
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
The
that
good
was his real
trivia
name.
there. That would have been a $100 prize.
Yeah. Well,
Were
he
you
died.
in any bands that did the local circuit? Rock and roll bands?
We all tried. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we did 9 months, broke up, changed names, argued about a new band, you know. Who
Looked
owns
for a
it?
good drummer.
Oh, well, you know, it just was the cycle. You know, you just revolved around and, you know, get a new agency. We stuck with Alpha quite a bit. Marsh Productions was big. And then
Marsh was the band I was with was Marsh.
Yeah,
Marsh
and-
Edelstein.
Okay, yeah. And Gary Lopak, who's playing with me tonight, was in the Youngsters.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, with Jeff Hill and Keith Follesay. Keith had one of his years in Nashville, he had 5 #1 records.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, so he's done okay.
Do you remember a group out west Minneapolis way, west side, the Poor Boys, by any chance?
No, probably after my time.
All right.
How about the Bananas? You ever heard
Turn
the
on
Bananas?
Your Love Light by the, who did that?
Love Light was High Spirits.
That was High Spirits.
Yeah, that was Owen Husney.
Yeah.
Owen was our manager in the Kevin Odegaard band.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
This world is getting way too small.
Yeah, we can't-
I'm laughing at Rook here.
Yeah, turn on Turn Your Light, right?
Yeah.
He's singing the
No, that's
Neil
not how it
Diamond
went.
song,
That's
not
not how it
the.
went.
Song
That's not
from
how it
E.T.?
went. No.
How about, let's see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna find me an action woman.
Oh, yeah.
One little man. Remember that?
Yeah.
Was it Action Woman?
Well, think about it for a minute. We
yeah.
got to take a time out.
What about water? Any songs about water,
Do you
Jeff?
want some
He does a
water?
lot of water songs.
Cool, clear.
Hofferman Water. I'm not going to sing either because I'm awful. But Hofferman Water is an independent water treatment dealer and a loyal supporter of the Garage Logic podcast. Listen, now's the time. Maybe you're in the market for a water softener, an iron rust or odor filtration system, or you just want a brand new drinking water system. Well, the fine folks at Hofferman Water have got you taken care of. And that's because a new system from Connecticut can do so many things that other water softeners simply can't do. It's going to cut down on your salt usage, but it's also going to protect your appliances. So do me a favor. Pick up the phone and dial them up today. 952-894-4040, or just visit their website, HoffermanWater.com. I've been a proud customer of Hofferman and Connecticut for years. You'll be happy if you make the switch. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Tell them you heard about them here on the Garage Logic podcast.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Well, I came down here about a year ago with a minivan and a sleeping bag, and I never looked back and I never regretted it once. I traded my gear for an old blue boat, hung a flag on the mast and I gassed it up, and I followed the waves to a place with a coconut sun. And it's a real good, feel good feeling I got, where the water's warm and the sand is hot.
Your music is happy,
Got a
isn't it?
chair by the way.
That's a cheap trick with the steel drums. That makes every song great.
Just me and my special someone
Go ahead, Ken.
under a coconut sun.
If you want the very best lawn on the block, you've got to go with ProfessionalTurf.com. They've been around since '82. A little old-fashioned, the ladies and gentlemen at ProTurf, when it comes to service. They'll come out to your home in person for your free estimate. They're going to set clear and accurate expectations. They combine their 35 years of experience with your ideas and then create a service program that will exceed your wildest dreams. You'll have your own fertilizer and weed control plan, environmentally safe, guaranteed for results. And don't forget about the Toot Sweet deal. deal. If you see something that concerns you at any point during the summer, give them a call. Your tech will be out there. Toot sweet. A beautiful, healthy lawn free of crabgrass, broadleaf weeds, and dandelions just a click away. ProfessionalTurf.com.
And John's newscast is brought to us by ProfessionalTurf.com.
I have one, but I guess I didn't need to do all that work, did I?
Screw the
We
news.
don't even need it.
Nope.
That's fine.
We don't even need it.
I'd rather play music than and listen
agree.
to Jeff than do news.
There's not much dark in your music. It seems happy.
You know, there's enough crazy out there for here, that. You know, I'm just going to stick with happy. You know, if you can make people happy, I think half your work in life is done. And if you can show kindness, try a little kindness. The second verse of that was written by Glenn Campbell. He didn't care for the first version of it that the writer brought him. And, you know, life is short. We should just enjoy it and play beautiful music. That's what my cello teacher at Southwest used to say. And there you go, you know.
Cello, I was reading your bio. You have a jazz background as well. What kind of jazz do you like?
Big band stuff. I was the guitar player in our university ensembles. I was in the #1 band at the U of M, and over there we got to work with Thad Jones a couple times, and Phil Woods, and Dizzy Gillespie, and that kind of thing.
Nice.
John's not going to leave you alone.
A big old hollow body, I hope.
I'm just going to sit, play jazz.
My grandpa
all
was a
day.
jazz drummer.
Yeah, my
but that was
dad-
New Orleans jazz.
Oh, yeah.
Red Maddock was his name. He was
Man. I love that stuff.
He
My
played-
dad was in
Tell him
the-
about what Chet said. He'd know Chet, obviously.
Chet said.
Chet Atkins.
Chet Atkins said, because he played on Prairie Home Companion with the Butch Thompson Trio. They were the in-house band for Prairie Home Companion.
yeah, I remember.
And Atkins said that no drummer he ever worked with kept better time than Red Maddock.
That is so cool.
And he didn't have to, he didn't have to say that. It was just,
No.
because my grandpa wasn't a focus, Keeler was. But
You know, I got to play with Butch, with Peter Lang, who was a Minnesota guitar player. He was one of the old Tacoma Records guys with Kotke and Fahey. Again, our Minnesota history. Why are we like we are? Because we got, everything was in the stew. It was everything from the garden and the cupboard, and,
we just lost Butch last year, I think.
I know, I heard. And you know what? There was a guy that was hopefully going to be there at Crooner's, Henry Blackburn, and he used to be one of the contemporaries of that sound. He brought the New Orleans guys to Minneapolis back in the 50s or 60s, whatever it was. Yeah, and my dad played rhythm guitar in the United States Dixieland Band. And, Yeah, and his man was Freddie Green.
Of course.
Count Basie.
Of course.
So when I was conducting Les Brown's Band of Renown one time, and we're doing the tables are empty, the dance floor's deserted, they're playing that love song, and my dad's popping buttons like he had to duck, man. Because there I am with Bob Hope's personal band,
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I love that stuff. And
You do know Grandpa Red's famous quote, don't you?
Tell us.
Is it true that you're the funniest comedian in the world?
I am the funniest guy in the country.
Really? Tell me, what's the secret of your
Timing.
success?
He used that all the time.
Glenn Campbell did that too.
Yeah, he would steal.
Yeah, Glenn was a
Joke thief.
renowned joke thief. I mean, we were sitting there. Glenn and I we were playing Reno in the headliner room, and Glenn and I went down to see Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers. And it was right after Dirty Dancing. So, I'm on fire. My songs are new again. I'm hot. My career's taking off. And he said, I quit drinking. I lost 10 pounds. I lost all my friends. And I look over, and Glenn's got a napkin and a blue Sharpie, and he's like, 10 pounds.
That's funny. We experienced that here on GL. We'll say something on the show, and it'll appear in Such's column on Sunday.
Sometimes. But I always announce that I'm stealing it. I always say, hey, I'm taking that. I'm taking that. I'm going to use that.
Glenn, to be fair, he would often credit people like Blake Clark and Roger Miller, especially. I'd give my right arm to be ambidextrous.
What did it entail? What did it entail to be his band director? What did that mean?
Well, I played guitar and tried to keep up. He trusted me. He saw us opening for the Alabama and the Judds and Merle Haggard.
Yeah,
and
wait. What's the chance meeting that you guys had that started this relationship?
That was it. We were rocking in Phoenix. I was living there since, well, I'll tell you, it was late 79 when I moved there. And Urban Cowboy was exploding, and there were Stetsons and Wranglers everywhere. And we were just right at the right time. And I put a band together. And we won a big contest in '83. We were called High Noon, and we came to Nashville and played, with everybody. And then 87, we won the Wrangler Country Showdown in Phoenix, and there we were opening for these guys. And Glenn came down to see his old pal Haggard. And Glenn and Haggard had a huge history, and I could tell you for 20 minutes about that. And Hag was one of the greatest. And so, he heard us play, and the next night there he was at a golf tournament that Nicholas was hosting this new course in called Desert Mountain up at Carefree. So, yeah. You probably played there.
I haven't, but I'm aware of it.
Guys he knows usually play out there, right?
He's still working.
Right. And anyway, I walked up to Glenn, and he was having dinner with Nicholas, and I said, "Hey, old buddy," because he came by to meet me the first time, the night before, and I said, "You want to sit in?" He goes, "Yeah, my songs, Southern, Rhyme, Gentle, Phoenix, Galveston." I said, yeah.
Sure, we
do. No, no, but we didn't know him. But we just, you were talking about people faking it.
Yeah.
And I thought he says, "Take it," and I thought he said, "Fake it," because that's what we did.
Wow.
And actually, that's true of Vince Gill, too, one time. We were backing up Vince at the Phoenix Open, and our band had done, a whole set with Vince. And Glenn was in the front row, and he goes, "Hey, Jeff, that was a good solo. I bet you don't remember one note you played." And then he came up to us, and our keyboard player, the late, great Noel Kirkland, and he goes, "Hey, you guys sounded great with Vince." He says, "How come you don't play that good when you're playing with me?"
Wow. Where do you rank Vince?
And Noel says, "Well, you ain't no Vince Gill."
Yeah. Where do you rank him? Guitar
Vince,
player.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
One of the best. The thing about Nashville is you got Vince, who could just play, Brent Mason, who's on all of my stuff, on guitar. He's played. Well, here's an example. I have Lonnie Wilson in my new record. He was Joe Diffie's producer, co-writer. He wrote All My Friends Say with Luke Bryan, he's had, and I said, "Lonnie, how many number ones have you been on now?" He says, 120 number one records and 400 top tens. And I said, Brent Mason, how many number one records have you been on? And somebody across the room goes, "All of them."
Yeah. and I know none of you guys have probably heard of Brent Mason, have you?
I have not.
These guys always tease me because I say a guy's a monster. Trust me, he is a monster, as Jeff will agree with. I'm sure.
He's so Nashville is full of that. Charlie Worsham is another phenomenal player. Yep. Keith Urban is there. What a great guitar player. Kenny Greenberg. The guys in the studios that do this day in and day out. Yep. Glenn says you can't swing a dead cat in Nashville and not hit three pickers. Yeah.
I talked to a guy once who said, "Never move if you want a job. Don't move to Nashville and don't move to Austin, Texas, because there's a line around the block of guitar players who are better than you no matter how good you are."
Yeah, one guy in Phoenix said, "Go ahead, go to Nashville. We'll save your place in line."
Yeah.
Wow. But, if you want to get the daily butt kicking that you need to get to be a better player, better singer, better writer, you go to Nashville. Go where play tennis with Bjorn Borg. Play up, Yeah,
well, that's the old cliche, play with better musicians. That's the way you get better. That's what happened to all.
And I'm watching guys that haven't done Nashville, but, are getting it through me, kind of, and boy, it's so cool to see what's happening. And I got a band up here, kind of a core group we call the Cool Crew, and out in the Southwest in Phoenix and L.A., and then I've got a bunch of guys out of Nashville and Florida, and we just have so much fun out there. So, life's good, and, life's for living.
How many guitars do you own?
One too few.
Really? That'd be high chance.
Oh, God, I love this man.
That's John Haidt.
I love this man.
I think if I, on a wish list, if I won the lottery, I could go stupid, but I don't, honestly, the one that plays the best and sounds, I have a guitar I call number one. It's an old Taylor. This is number two. It's a few years younger. So this is 94. Number one's in 91, and it's all beat up and cracked.
The reason I asked is why did you bring this one to Minnesota?
Because it's the one I park up here for the year.
Oh, you leave it up here?
Yeah, it's parked here for the year. It's I bought it as a backup, and it's rings like a big dog.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it plays well, and it plays in tune, and it's got the sound I want.
Where do you leave it? In a locker at the airport?
I have a secret location.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got it. He's got it.
Top secret, he can tell you.
You can get it. Yeah.
He'd have to kill you. Yeah. It's classified.
No, it's not that big a deal. But, I bought it really reasonable, and it's nice. I'm always buying guitars on the road, too. I comb through Craigslist every time I'm up here.
You ever let one go that you wish you had back?
Oh, dude.
Every guitar player in the world.
That'll be like the episode that we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
What's the song you wanted to do? We were talking before the show. You wanted to do a song, but you thought John would listen to that song.
John.
Oh, you said there would be.
That was earlier.
We'd have to do a little primer.
My Next Ex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we already did it, Joe.
Yeah. I just, it's a fun song about being a hair-legged idiot.
When you came to town, would you go to Willie's Guitars in St. Paul, or would you go to a guitar store? Or
I've been to Willie's plenty of times, but I can watch his stuff online. I don't really have to.
You don't need to go to the store.
I get up to St. Paul, though. I like Uptown. I used to live up there with Gary and I were roommates. We lived on Goodrich for a while, back in the 70s.
Do you know Billy Gibbons?
No. He's been in Nashville a lot lately, though. And Bukovac. Oh, there's another guitar player. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Look him up. He goes by the name Uncle Tom Bukovac. Tom Bukovac. Bukovac. And he's got a little thing he calls homeschooling with a K. Homeschooling. And he's had Billy Gibbons and all sorts of people on there. And he's one of the top guys in Nashville. And he's a favorite of everybody. I mean, Dan Huff uses him on a million things, and Dan, produced everybody from,
I don't want to get controversial because it's been a fun 75 minutes, but earlier this week on the show, Jeff, we had a massive brawl on the show because we were disputing who had the better version of "Are You Sure Hank Ain't Done It This Way" between the original and the Mavericks version. And we love the Mavericks version.
No, Mavericks version is the best.
No, you talk about the one with, is it Mavericks with Raul Malo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those guys rock, and Raul is amazing. And he produced a record for Katie Oslin, who's gone now. She's passed. But it was a song called "Live Close By, Visit Often," which is a great recipe for a good long-term relationship. But Raul is, bad A, man. He's just phenomenal. How are you going to beat old Waylon, man? How
you do that song?
Exactly. How are you going to top Hoss, I got to talk to him.
Damn it, Kenny's right.
Well, I got to talk to Hoss one night. Me and Waylon were standing there next to the stage, and Waylon's band is out there, the Wailers, and it's all the guys, man. It's just like, we're just sitting in the shadows. He's getting ready to get introduced, and he says, "I'll tell you about old Glenn." I said, "I bet you will," because they had those days. I mean, it's kind of like the days in that song I'm writing called "Renegades and Rascals." And he said, but here, one thing about Campbell, he said, when he got his TV show, he never forgot who his friends were, and he put us all on the show, and we all owe our careers to him.
What was that whole hee-haw thing?
Hee-haw was Buck Owens and Roy Clark.
Glenn had his own show. He was the summer replacement for the Smothers Brothers.
That's how it started out. Okay. The Summer Brothers Smothers
show. Attaboy, Rook.
God, you're so embarrassing,
but
Matthew.
Nothing ever changes, Rook. What the hell?
We had more fun, though. I mean, I got to do hee-haw with Glenn just because I was the band leader, and sometimes when when they didn't need the whole band, Glenn would just take me, and we'd use the hee-haw band. So if you go on YouTube,
maybe that's what I was.
Yeah,
you were so thank you for covering me. Thank you.
He was on many times, but he didn't live in Nashville. He never did. He lived in Phoenix, until the very end, and he was in a memory care center. But that was another sad time.
Roy Clark, hell of a picker.
Oh, there's a great guy, and he was a cool dude too. I mean, we played golf, and we played guitars backstage, and he'd talk to me like one time I did something stupid and busted my pinky back of my hand here, and I didn't know it was broken. He said, "What'd you punch?" You already know. He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Look at my right hand." He said it was like every finger pointed at a different planet. He said, "I hit so many faces and brick walls." He said,
when it comes to are you sure Hank done it this way? You're going with Merle.
Merle.
I mean Waylon.
Yeah.
Waylon.
I just think that's just it's got the cojones, man. It's just like the way it is.
Can you do a little for us of that?
Are you kidding me?
You don't do that?
Well, I mean, singing "He Stopped Loving Her Today" would be the same kind of sacrilege, but well, it's the same old tune, fiddle and guitar. Where do we take it from here?
Hey, Jeff does the best version.
Brownstone suits, big shiny cars. It's been the same way for years. Putting on. Yeah, we need a change.
Oh man, that's wonderful.
I'm imitating the great.
Yeah.
But Waylon was amazing, and he just had the grit, and he had the stories, and
we had a rough upbringing.
Everybody did.
He had a rough past.
The guys that did prison time and then got out to do, a career in music.
Merle. Merle did prison time.
Haggard's watching Johnny Cash play at Folsom Prison, and he's going, dang, when I get out, I'm going to do that. And it gave him the hope. And I tell you what, I don't think, back in those days, I don't really know if there was a better songwriter, lyricist, you know, in terms of being right to the bone. You know, I loved Hag, man. And I got to meet him, and, you know, I got to meet a lot of folks. They're all in the book, but I'm still writing it, you know.
Why don't we take a time out?
Sure.
Reeves?
But first, here's John Haidt.
Before we take it to Joe, did you have something you wanted to add, Joe, before we take a commercial?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you said, but first. I want to tell you guys about this. You know who's coming to the Pantages Theater?
No.
Well, can I tell you when first?
Oh.
Pantages, of course, in Minneapolis, Saturday, April 29th.
Okay.
No.
2 weeks from tomorrow?
Yep. Let me give you a little hint. Okay.
Yep.
Here we come, walking down the street. Get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, the monkeys!
Mickey Dolenz is coming to town. The night, April 29th, you can catch the Monkeys, celebrated by Mickey Dolenz. Mickey, of course, the only surviving monkey. And if you know their history, he did sing a lot of their hits, Last Train to Clarksville, I'm a Believer, Pleasant Valley Sunday, and lots more. The tickets start as low as $43. There are lots of great seats left. You just have to head to Ticketmaster.com or www.talukpresents.com. That's Taluk. Now, what's going to happen is Mickey's got a full band with him on this tour. The tour started already. The shows are getting great reviews. He's performing with a full band, and part of the night includes a big screen where they'll show old video clips, pictures, and never-before-seen movies, home movies of Mickey and the boys in the band. And you might remember, you may not know, Mickey was one of those guys who lived in Laurel Canyon during the late 60s. So, of course, you'll see some great photos and stories about those folks, too. So come on out. See Mickey Dolenz pay tribute to Mike Nesmith, Davy Jones, and Peter Tork April 29th at the Pantages Theater in Minneapolis. Get your tickets from Ticketmaster.com or www.talukpresents.com.
How is he going to get here? Is he going to take the last train from Clarksville?
Oh, my God.
Do you know why Mike Nesmith? You know why Mike Nesmith had money?
Whiteout.
That's right. His mother invented a whiteout.
What?
Yeah, she was the whiteout woman.
Mike also wrote some great songs.
You probably knew the Monkees.
Actually, I knew Mike.
Mike actually was, before the Flying Burrito Brothers, before the Eagles, all those guys had a great band called the Silver National. Boy, I don't remember, but he had a couple of great hits.
They were great.
There were country rock hits. Joanne. I don't know if your name was Joanne. And
I didn't
she
know any of
lived
that.
in a meadow by a pond. Yeah, it was a great record. That and Silver Moons.
Every night I want to stay.
No, that's a different song.
Anyway, Mike had a great band in the early 70s after the Monkees broke up.
And guess who the session guitar player on the record was?
Jeff Dayton.
Glenn Campbell played on, not Last Train to Clarksville. That was
Louis Shelton.
Played on, who was with us in Scottsdale one time. But yeah, and Mike came through Reno when we were there at Harris, and we got up, and Mike got up with us, and we did Last Train to Clarksville with him.
No way.
Nice.
That's cool.
The Pantages is like a great theater, I hear. I'd love to get invited to do a show there someday.
You know, we understand that who you really want to play for, and you're being very serious about it, is you'd love to play at a Twins game.
Oh, dude. I loved the Twins since 61 when they moved here.
Yeah.
They were... My grandmother bought season tickets right away. My grandmother from Delwood, from Montemita. And so all those years, we were in box seats. And I remember going and sitting in the Knot Hole gang in left field. Was, I think, 50 cents or $1 to get in or something like that, $1 a day. And I'd crawl under the stands when I was a kid and try to find change down there. Yeah. I was there for the 65 World Series with the Dodgers, 2 games. I was there for the 65 All-Star game. Yep. I memorized and knew, thanks to CCO, listening vicariously to all those games. And I knew all their numbers and all, stats on the players. Lenny Green.
But what do you want to do? Do you want to do the anthem?
I'd love to do the anthem.
Why can't we make that happen?
We can make that happen.
I would love it. You know, I did sing for the Cubbies.
Yeah, you told us.
We saw the YouTube clip last summer. That was really cool.
My buddy Gene from Rose Presents will be listening to this. Gene? make this happen, okay? There, it's done, Jeff.
Well, let's
It's
just
done.
call Dave
Mr.
St.
LaForge, engage. Number one, make
But
it
you're
so.
a baseball guy.
I love baseball. Huge fan. I listen to both.
John and I are about to fall in love with you, so you better settle down.
Yeah.
Well, I've listened to both of the Twins are off to a great start, and I love the fact that they've got these fresh faces. I was on an airplane with one of the Yankee scouts a bunch of years back, and he said that the Twins farm system was loaded up like no other team in baseball, and Buxton was the guy. He said, this will be a Hall of Famer, you watch.
If he plays.
Right.
Well, but then you got this new guy, Farmer, who just got clocked in the face 2 nights ago. That was horrible to watch. But I've been trying to pay attention, and there are a lot of great channels on YouTube that, run the game quickly, and you can check it out. And what are they, 9-4 right now?
9-4.
So, they got a game tonight, and then they got a day game this weekend somewhere. They're in New York? Or
In
they
New York.
Still in New York.
Yeah, 4-game series.
So, we're going to win, Twins. We're going to score.
Well, Farmer, hockey-like, said he's okay. He'll be back.
I just got my teeth aligned.
So, if Rocco doesn't keep him out for 2 months, he might come back and play right
Man,
away.
I tell you what a cool year for them. They got all these new young players and guys that the new pitching is just like, ooh.
How about the pitch clock? Are you a fan?
Oh, I heard there was an infraction in a game where they actually called an out or something like
strike,
a third
yeah.
strike
Somebody-
on a batter that took too long, just monkeying around in the box or whatever.
It's made a big difference.
As Twins fans, we had been waiting for last night for about 20 years.
Oh, God. I wanted it to be 20 to nothing.
I did too.
We were waiting for the humiliation.
Yes.
Well, and for all teams to do it too, the pinstripes. It's just
How many times have you done the anthem?
I've done it other places, but only once for the major leagues.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
And I tell you what, there is no feeling on earth like when you start to realize that you have some kind of control and you can land of the free and you just hold it as long as you can and the crowd's erupting.
Yeah.
And you're going, I'm getting chill bumps remembering it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the home, and you're just like go nuts. And I'm with a guitar. And it's just like, it's huge.
Oh, we got to make this happen.
I love it. And then you leave the field and you're high-fiving people all the way back to the clubhouse like you're Cal Ripken or something, And now I'd love to be that guy just doing high fives all the way around the stadium.
Are you a golfer?
I have wasted a lot of golf balls, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know where they were at.
Do you? Well, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenn used to say, best advice I can give you, Jeff, swing hard in case you hit it.
Well, Glenn was a pretty good golfer, wasn't he?
He said he was a scratch golfer.
Well-
He had the oddest swing, though. He had a top knot in his back.
Barkley style? Where you'd pause and then...
He had a little twitch up there,
Okay.
He'd walk in the green room, he'd say, I woke up this morning and I looked in the mirror and my hands were up here. And I said, what are they doing up here? They should be up here.
I always thought the strangest story I heard after he passed away, after he left us, one of his best friends and best golfing buddies was Alice Cooper. And I thought, boy, there's a tandem to see on the golf course, huh?
Yeah.
Glenn Campbell and Alice
They had
Cooper.
like a red light camera photo of them one time. And the only reason they get that picture is because they blew a red. they're in Glenn's Bentley, and they're wearing sunglasses.
What's Al like? Is he pretty
He's
cool?
a really quiet, humble guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
I've seen him play golf. I've seen Alice play golf with his band.
We, we played Cooperstown in Phoenix. So he had a club there for a while. I've run into him in airports, and he was on the one of the shows we did one time too. Really nice guy.
Yeah, he is a rep is a really great guy.
That's what I've heard.
Nothing like the screaming rocker, he comes on like he's Ted Nugent or something, but then off stage he's just humble and quiet.
Well, he was in that group with Keith Moon and those guys where they were basically trying to kill each other or kill themselves.
He was drinking a lot then.
Yeah,
He gave up the beer
He took
after.
the cure, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that helps.
It does.
And, it did wonders for my like what's it, Glenn? Oh my God, Glenn's like, yeah, I quit drinking. And he told that joke for 4 years.
Lost all my friends.
Yeah, and then he says, well, I had to quit drinking. I was a drunk. I wasn't an alcoholic like Jeff. And he said, people would say, how'd you sleep last night? He said, like a log. I woke up in the fireplace this morning. And I'm like, Glenn, don't.
You heard about this. It's a true story. This guy that went into the bar and he was a little down and out, and he looked at the bartender, and then he looked at the top shelf, and he said, I want a shot of everything up there, everything on your top shelf. The bartender said, are you sure? And the guy said, yes, that's what I want. And the bartender started pouring them, and the bartender said, I got to tell you, man, I've never seen anybody drink like this. And he said, well, you'd drink like this, too, if you had what I had. And the bartender felt terrible, you know. What? Oh, I'm sorry. What do you have? And he said, $6.
That's a good one.
Like, that would be a Glenn Campbell
That's
type
a
joke.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
$6.
We were playing the Lorain County Fair in Ohio, and it was raining cats and dogs. Glenn says, I know because I stepped in a poodle. And
Glenn would have driven me crazy with that stuff.
But they're all logged in there. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't.
You can't get rid of them.
And so there are people out in black yard bags, glad bags, like covered up to watch us play. And I had brought a vintage guitar I just bought, another one I wish I'd gotten rid of.
Wait a minute. So what you're trying to tell us is, off mic, off the stage, Glenn Campbell was rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just nonstop.
Boy, I don't know. I would not put him in my high standards.
I wouldn't. Don't take this the wrong way. He was like rookie, only smarter.
Yeah, and talented.
The floodgates are currently open. Give me a call right now.
Man, it's getting. There's love in this room. As Jim Stafford would say, can you feel the love in here? Can you feel it?
It manifests itself in strange ways.
He said, well, if you can't, then feel around you.
You'll find it.
You'll find it somewhere.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was so glad I brought this guitar, and I said, hey, Glenn, check out this new guitar I got. And he barely glanced over. He goes, well, that's nice and everything, but I figured you would have learned to play the first one.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a great line. Oh, my God.
So,
I think we'd get along with him good, Joe.
Oh, that was great.
He'd have loved this show.
Well, he loved giving the needle is what it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, he'd rib you. I can't go into all the stories about
No,
that.
you can't. You got to save them for your book.
Well, there are so many. I mean, just every time you turned around, he'd take my other guitar, the number one, and he'd say, Jeff, let me borrow your rhythm, because that was a rhythm guitar, acoustic. He said, boys, I'm going to stand here and pick, and you stand there and marvel. And then he'd launch into something, just unbelievable. He had and the great well of just class, For being a country boy, as country as he was, he just, there wasn't anything like it. Man,
at the fair, you played us some Minnesota-themed songs. What you had a song about fishing.
Oh, yeah, you want to hear a little fishing?
Yeah, because it's 78 degrees. And
Are you doing the fair again this year?
Just say the word.
Okay.
Well, it's not up to us.
I'm not. I mean, to get a hold of Nate Dungan and say how many times until you get tired of old Jeff playing the landing stage.
No.
I would love to play the fair again. Just as long as it's not the beer tent.
Right.
But
we can't do anything about the fair because our guy who ran the fair is no longer running the fair. He retired.
Really? Yeah, I'd love to just come by and do the show with you guys.
Well, if you're in town, you have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's make
We'll
it.
be in
We'll put it
communication,
in light pencil.
Yeah.
There we go. What was it? A country boy. The producer says, back off your microphone, son. You're popping the T on your once. You got a line, and I got a pole. You and me, baby, let's take a stroll. Wander on down to the water side. Cut a little bait and see what bites. 'Cause I love fishing with you, baby. I love your little catch me look. I love the way you tease me. One little wiggle and I'm on the hook. Woo-hoo. Come on, Rook, help me out. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. You're so cute in your summertime hat. Makes my little heart go pitter-pat. You're so fine just sitting in a boat. Knock me in the water, Lord, I hope I float. 'Cause I love fishing with you, baby. I love your little catch me look. I love the way you tease me. One little wiggle and I'm on the hook. Woo-hoo. Come on, Rook. Woo-hoo. There you go. Woo-hoo. All right. Well, I took my last dollar down to the track, betting on a pony named Surefire Jack. Jack was a winner, I was too, so I bought a big boat and an Evinrude. Slice of bologna, slice of cheese, chips and a pickle and a sweet iced tea. Nothing in the bucket, nothing on the line, but one of your kisses, baby, I'm just fine. 'Cause I love fishing with you, baby. I love your little catch me look. I love the way you tease me. One little wiggle and I'm on the hook. Come on, Joe. One little wiggle and I'm on the hook. One little wiggle and I'm on the hook. Woohoo! There you go, guys. Woohoo! I'm fishing with Garage Logic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fishing. The Replacements did a song about fishing.
Did they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I don't know that.
Fishing.
Yeah.
You got to do a fishing song if you're Minnesotan.
Oh, yeah. You know what I've been saying is you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day.
Right.
Teach a man to fish, he'll go for walleye all summer long.
Yeah.
Something about fishing. I know the Replacements did a fishing song.
We played the Wee Fest back in the late 80s with Glenn, and we're up there. All the buses are backstage. They got this like backstage village, and Steve Warner was on that day, Barbara Mandrell, and Randy Travis, and we had flown in Gene Autry's Challenger jet from Phoenix. He came over from L.A. because Gene's manager was our manager. Mm-hmm. And so we're in these L.A. pilots, you know, with like the members-only leather jackets, you know, lady.
Right.
Let's face it,
Right.
late 80s, right? That was cool. And we get to the village, and the Bemidji firemen were back there doing a walleye fry.
Oh, boy.
They had the powder, you know, like the breaded salt, pepper on, you know, and deep frying the walleye fillets. And these pilots, I said, guys, you got to try that. And they went, oh, fish. I said, you just try it once. You were just, you know, you aren't going to believe it. So about 30 minutes later, I saw them both each carrying 2 plates with flour all over their mouths and going, this is incredible.
You better take a time out, Reeves, for Rook.
Well, I'll tell you what, I could take it down. I don't want all the attention right now. What
Okay.
I'm trying to do is give
That's the funniest thing you've
other
ever said.
clients attention, including Minnesota Masonic Charities. They're online at mnmasoniccharities.org. And again, the reason that they're here on Garage Logic is to take away all the secrecy. Their full disclosure, and what they do is help people, including on April 29th, this is the Garage Logic 30th anniversary. It's the 7th annual Dave Weiss Memorial Sporting Clay Shoot. It's going to be at the Minnesota Horse and Hunt Club. And you can find out all the details by calling this number, 612-790-5561. Why are we promoting this? Well, because the Shriners Healthcare Campus and the U of M Masonic Children's Hospital will benefit from this. So if you're of the mind to do some clay shooting now at the Minnesota Horse and Hunt Club, call this number, 612-790-5561. Meanwhile, poke around mnmasoniccharities.org to find out how great they do all around the state. They're wonderful people, and the secret is out. Yes, they have a secret handshake, but you can find out all the information about it at mnmasoniccharities.org.
Which local dealership has the most major manufacturer brands in one single showroom? Give up? Oh, it's easy. You all know. It's Moon Motorsports in Monticello. They have 11 brands, the 11 brands that we all love and trust. Their newest brand, Gas. It's a dirt and trail brand with an exciting mix of models for riders of all levels and ages. Gas, they make more than trials bikes these days. Their dirt bikes are fantastic. And for those of you that want an ATV or a side-by-side, the selection at Moon Motorsports, they have it all. Honda, Polaris, Can-Am, Yamaha. Moon Motorsports has you off-road lovers covered. Moon Motorsports, they're in Monticello on the south side of 94, just west of Highway 25, and they are our Can-Am, Polaris, Skidoo, Honda, Yamaha, and Dirt and Trail adventure motorcycle brand leaders. They're the best. Check them out on the web, moonmotorsports.com. And I'm done, Joe. So,
okay.
Clouds overhead, daylight arrives alone. Deep in her dreams,
Will the people at the Music Cafe in Excelsior maybe hear this tonight? They will, right? Yeah, well, we don't need to pump tickets because you think they're sold out. Yeah, what a venue, though, right there on the lake. This is from the new album?
Yeah.
What's the name of this song?
Then she pulls away.
When the Ocean Sleeps.
When the Ocean Sleeps?
Always returns. When the ocean sleeps, I fall more in love with her.
Damn.
Sounds like stuff I say to my wife all the time.
Oh, my God.
Oh, here we go.
That's all right. Don't let him give you anything.
Exactly. I'm still full throttle, baby.
Chin up, man.
You know, Jeff?
Take it like a pro.
Jeff, you might just make it in this business.
You know, I've been thinking about it. I gotta say though, guys, you know, first of all, thanks again for letting me come in and hang out with you guys. You're like an amazing bunch. And you pretend to not like each other, but I know you do. Yeah. And you know, it starts with the top and it flows downhill. And you know, I've met artists who their whole crew is a bunch of jerks, and it's because the artist is a jerk. And this bunch is great things because you're a great guy, Joe.
Well, aren't you sweet?
No, seriously, I don't dish BS anymore. I don't have time to clean it up afterwards. You know,
You see right through us because, Jeff, everybody in the building is afraid of us because we're always yelling at each other.
They walk by this like, oh my God, did you hear that?
What's going on?
I did notice some middle finger hellos in here.
See, Jeff doesn't realize this, but from here on out, he's going to be joining us every garage door opener.
Oh, he didn't know here on out.
Is that like walleye opener? And
yeah, it's more important than the walleye opener. Will you please do one more for us?
Oh, God, yeah.
And tonight, I don't know if you're going to get in, but you could hang around outside and try something.
Well,
Music Cafe in Excelsior.
Yeah, 318 Music Cafe.
318
Actually,
Music
you know,
Cafe.
y'all get on a plane, come over to Honolulu.
Oh, I'd love to.
I'm not kidding. We're doing Nashville. We're doing the show in Nashville.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool live from Nashville?
Seriously, that would be fantastic.
We could find a place.
We know a guy that works at the airport.
Well, they don't have a studio.
No, but we got a guy that gets us out of here.
I can get you there.
Oh, that airport.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say come down there, and we'll let you host the show from down there. You can do a remote from Nashville.
No, that's what we're going to do.
I'd love it.
Yeah. I'll be recording with you.
Let me be in town when that happens. We'll do it all. We'll dovetail
We'll record
together.
during sure.
Yeah. But
when is the best time? I mean, obviously summer is the obvious answer, but what is the best time to visit Nashville?
When there are rooms available that aren't $500 a night, that kind of thing. But
I don't think height of summer would be the time. Nashville gets pretty damn hot.
We are packed with tourists too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think we'll do a show inside.
They're coming by the busload. But on May 7th, I'll be at the Blue Note Hawaii in Waikiki, and it's the premier room, and everybody from Take Six to Kev Mo to all these people from all over the world play there, and I've got. You know, this is my fourth time, and
that's so cool.
They let me back in, and I've got an incredible crew of Hawaiians that is the biggest show I've ever put in there. And Kenneth Makulkane is with me. He's my partner. He's my brother over there. And as we say in Hawaiian, you know, you sing and talk story like we're doing, talk story. And then I've got Johnny Helm coming in as a guest. I've got Tarvin Makia and his daughter Mapawana. She's in on the Disney show Doogie Kamealoha, which is a kind of a teen sitcom on Disney. She's one of the doctors, based on Doogie Howser. And then Keola Donahue. And our album, we're all a group called Aeae. And the album has already won the Big Island Music Awards for Album of the Year, and it's in the finals of the Nahoku Hano Hano Awards.
Nice.
And when the ocean sleeps, it's like I'm a proud papa. I'm watching my kid enter his first swim meet, you know. And my youngest son, Kessler, who is a swimmer, my dad was an Olympic swimmer at the Helsinki Olympics in '52.
Oh wow!
And he played guitar. I was a champion swimmer at Blake. I had a school record with my guys in the medley relay.
Really?
Played guitar. My son Kessler plays music and is a champion swimmer at King University.
What kind of name is Kessler?
Kessler is his name.
Well, what did you make it up?
Yeah, his mom loved, you know.
No, Joe.
No, get the
Joe.
The name. The kid, there's no name Kessler.
No.
It's a cool name. It's a cool name.
Kessler? Come on.
No,
that's a last name.
He's a great guy, and he and Dad are going to make our special weekend trip together. And he's been on stage with me in Wisconsin. We're going to be at Big Top Chautauqua.
Okay.
June, look it up. 17th.
That's up
I'll
Bayfield
post your
way.
entire tour schedule on the website.
Yeah, but
That's up Bayfield way.
Yeah, and that's like already like more than half sold.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm just
Have you
thrilled
been there before?
No, I just
You'll love
had
that.
people telling me, you got to play Big Top. So, yeah, and so in Hawaii, it's just, it's where half my heart lives.
So do you linger for a month or so when you go to Hawaii?
God, make it so. From your lips to God's ears. No, it's. But what I have found out is my parents honeymooned there in '52, and June of '52, I think it was, and one day, and they stayed at the Halekulani, which is famous. It's like the Royal Hawaiian, the Pink Hotel on the beach, where all the outriggers and all the pictures of Diamond Head. And so one day, some friends of mine invited me to lunch, and we went to the Halekulani, and it's an outdoor. Oh, it's just so beautiful. And I called Mom and I said, "Hey, Mom, I just had lunch at the Halekulani." She goes, "That's really nice. That's probably where you started out."
Thanks, Mom.
Hey, now. Stop. Hang up. I'll call you later.
You should write a song about that.
So honestly, I think that between my Minnesota roots, my good, hardworking hometown blood, and my Hawaiian spirit that was, gathered at the time I was whatever.
Tell me what Tennessee whiskey sounds like with your new band.
It sounds like it's in Hawaiian.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out. It's online.
I'm looking at it right now. I will. I just haven't had. I'm looking
it's,
at your
translated to
Wikipedia.
Hawaiian. It's one of the entries for Hawaiian Single of the Year.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Because their language. The cool thing about Hawaii is that they were denied their language for 100 years by the white guys that came over there and told them they couldn't do it anymore, and they forbid them to teach the language or teach the history or, speak the language.
Nice
And
guys, huh?
Yeah.
Is the language unique to the islands, or is
Yes.
it Polynesian or all over the Pacific?
It's all of the, it's Samoa, Tahiti, the whole thing, Fijian, Filipino, Chinese. But here's the beautiful thing, over here we're obsessed with separating people. It seems like, and I'll go on a little skinny branch here.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, it's just mix. And everybody's the same because, they're Brazilian and German and Hawaiian and, Chinese or whatever. They don't bother with that anymore. And I made that rookie question the first time I was there, and they said, no, he's mixed. Mm-hmm. So there's this beautiful unity.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
Not yet. Oh. But here's my hope. Okay, you asked me about my life and why I'm doing positive music. Aloha, to me, is the peace word that might cure the world's ills, it might be the way that we unify, because when we're giving love instead of demanding love, it's a whole different planet.
Oh, that's very stoic. I love that.
That's all right. We hope. I just made that up, but I mean, that's it's not fake.
Giving you crap.
You brought up Tennessee whiskey. Such hates that song because for 1 year straight, we played Chris Stapleton's version of Tennessee whiskey every single day on the radio at 3:25, and it drove him crazy.
Well, I'm a Chris Stapleton fan.
I love Chris. I mean, he's great. I got a buddy that's in his band. But, I think this is a very special version. And it's unique because Dean Dillon gave us permission to put it on the record. So it's a blending of both Hawaiian and my mainland influences.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I can't wait to hear it.
Well, do you want to do that for us, or what are you going to do?
How
I
about
think he's got the ukulele and the whole band thing.
Oh, yeah.
For the different
I'm going to
sounds.
do This is for you, Joe.
Okay.
Whoops, I didn't even write the key. What key am I in? And why did I do this?
That's all right.
Holy cow. Well, Glenn, here's another one of the Glenn's saving pieces of advice. If you do it perfect, they'll want it that way every time. I am a dreamer, a long shot believer, who never let no slow me down. I'm someone who dances on high skinny branches with barely one fear of the ground. It's when you feel something down in your heart pumping, you listen what it has to say. say. Forgetting nomenclature is just human nature. Thank God I'm wired that way. You feeling me, Joe? I'm just as hard-headed as I'm independent, and I'm happy to cut my own road. I'll grade it and pave it, and paint it and name it, and take it wherever it goes. Yeah, John. 'Cause when you feel something down in your heart pumping, you listen what it has to say. You don't bother asking the wind to blow backwards, 'cause that's how I'm wired that way. I know I'm imperfect and sometimes uncertain. I'm hoping that makes me sublime, 'cause there's no point in faking some weak imitation of the me that the man had in mind. Yeah, and when you feel something down in your heart pumping, you listen what it has to say. You don't bother asking the wind to blow backwards, waiting on cowboys to change. Forget nomenclature, it's just human nature. But thank God I'm wired that way.
Wow. Very
Wow.
nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Nice picking, John.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Nice. Johnny Height.
You know, for
Skating over the
knuckleheads like
top.
us,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I mean, here's the thing. My grandmother said something beautiful to me once. She goes, I'm finally old enough where I don't care what people think what I think.
Ain't that the truth?
You know, look at us, man. I mean, older than we've ever been.
That's right.
For those of you who don't have cameras,
Trust us.
we are a raggedy bunch, you know. But thank God we have each other, and you know, this world needs people that hang together, not against anything. We just hang for each other, you know. And I'm for you guys, and I'm going to tell you that right now. This is Jeff Dayton saying Garage Logic is where it's at, y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
Save
Right
that.
back at you.
Jeff,
I want
you have
Jeff-
no idea how much we needed this today
Yeah.
on the show.
I can't even tell you. Yeah, thank you.
I want Jeff to hear this because they come to us all the way
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
from Marloth Park
Just start packing up.
in Mpumalanga, South Africa.
This
from
is
the
where I
Traveling
light up,
Lyman.
Jeff. This is where I light up a heater.
See, most shows would do this day in history, and we would think that would be pretty corny.
With like a wacky slide
hey,
whistle.
it's this day in history. No, we do them because they're sent to me by a couple in Africa
No way.
doing the Minnesota Dayton history.
And-
the Traveling Lymans.
And because the staff is too lazy to pick
Yeah.
up
No,
on
I
all
would
the
never
stats.
do them if they didn't come to us all the way from
Right.
Marloth Park.
That's a lot of research.
So Jeff should hear their quick story, though. This is a couple that are dedicated listeners to the Garage Logic podcast, and they've been traveling the world for...
Sold everything, left. They travel the world, and they love South Africa. They're in a camp there. They got a beautiful little cottage. You can go on worldwidewaftage.com, and then there's giraffes looking at them from 2 feet
I don't
away.
think you have to tell them everything. I think
I'm just
That's just a
freaking-
cool story. It's a very cool story.
On this day,
Joe, today is April 14th.
in 1805,
I feel like we should have a musical there.
Oh, yes.
you can play something under it if you
Well, no, I
want.
was just going to play that for everyone you have.
All right.
You got more than one?
Pine City
15.
recorded a high temperature on this day of 108.
That's the water ski capital of the world.
Pine City? You're thinking of Lake City.
Oh.
You are a complete
Swing
moron.
and a miss.
Talk about Pine City, Minnesota?
Yeah.
Well, you know, the guy that said that was that temperature only had 4 people witness it. So if they all agreed, then it was 100.
Okay,
it
we
was
got it.
Boiling water.
Well,
Look.
this is back in, you know, they didn't even have Pony Express back then.
On this day, in 1901,
Okay.
what day is this?
April 14th.
A poker game in Granite Falls ended in violence. After playing for several hours, local dentist S. Wintner. His first name was S, just an S.
Like yes.
Notice his 2 kings have lost to 2 aces, held by St. Paul card sharp William Leonard, the Irish lord, 8 times in succession. Wintner produced a revolver, and when Leonard proclaimed his innocence, fatally shot him. At the trial later that year, Frank Nye, for the defense, made the creative assertion that gambling being a felony, Dr. Wintner had the right to stop such an act with violence if necessary.
Wow.
The jury, perhaps unsympathetic to a crooked gangster, found Wintner not guilty.
Wow.
And finally. Really?
Then he tied her up. He lit the fuse to the dynamite. And the train started coming. And then.
And then along
On this day,
April 14th.
In 1977, the Minnesota Asian Project, an organization that promotes civil rights, affirmative action, and legal services for the Asian community, was officially incorporated by Dennis Tachiki and Daniel Matsumoto.
Okay.
That happened on this day in 1977.
Right.
Right there.
Is that it? Is that it?
That you can finish it though with your. There it is. Yeah. And that train was coming. Thank you to Jeff Dayton tonight at the 318 Music Cafe in Excelsior.
Tickets are not available.
Good luck.
I think they're about
Isn't that the
long.
greatest
Good
phrase
luck.
you've ever heard? Tickets are no longer, we're sold out, they're not available.
Thank you,
That
Garage
sure beats,
Magicians.
we only sold 19. My heart goes out to all y'all and everybody up here listening around the world. I mean, you have how many listeners? How
Quite
many?
a few lately.
You've had over 1 million downloads? Is that
Well, that's monthly, son.
Monthly.
monthly?
That's monthly, son.
Man, you know, my grandfather said there's no ink better than any ink, you know?
What now? Wait a minute.
Yeah, what?
Wait a minute.
You know, even bad
No ink
news is
better
good
than
news.
any ink.
Yeah. Well, this like he used to say, you made the big ink.
Yeah.
You know, the big ink was like the headline. You
Right.
know, like the big font
Right.
on the newspaper.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And Glenn Campbell would say, being with you guys is like walking in towel cotton and wiping your on the top leaf.
Jeff, you know, this is a rare occurrence that we can end the show this way because we usually have a music outro where the Rook kind of wraps things up. I'm wondering if you and John might pleasure us with that as Rook tells us about YouTube and other things.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere. No, I'm just kidding.
Mr. President, would you like to wrap it up in musical format?
I'm not sure if we can rap. I don't think I do rap. Someone drop a beat. Drop a beat for me, and I'll see if I can rap Inner City. Just kidding. Oh, this is good. This is good.
Oh, dear God.
I woke up this morning. I put my slippers on. I said to the doorman, "How you doing, Don?" He gave me a funny look as I went across the street. But you know about me, it's all about that urban beat. I went to get my hair cut at the barber's pole. I didn't like his haircut. I looked like Larry, Curly, and Moe. So wrapping up the show, if you're looking for a podcast, there's no rhyming here. Just go to PodMN on your smartphone. PodMN on your smartphone. Check out GarageLogic.com. GarageLogic.com for the town council. How much
Boy,
is it,
did you
Reavers?
get your money's worth today for $10 a month or
$10
$100
a month, that's
year?
nothing. That's horse crap.
No, rhyme with horse crap.
It is. No, I won't. I'm out of gas. GarageLogic.com for the town council. And don't forget, sign up on YouTube. Subscribe to the Garage Logic page on YouTube. And don't forget to check out Mr. Dayton, Jeffrey Dayton, on Instagram, as well as daughter
Carrie?
Carrie Dayton. She's got quite a few followers.
Jeff Dayton Music at. Never mind. That's his email address.
If you Google Jeff Dayton, it comes right up. Music.
That's how you can get the album.
Why
too.
do we let the two most incompetent people do
Right.
the sign
I
up on
made a
all the
mistake
technical
there.
aspects of it?
I almost gave out his email address.
Thank you, GLers.
No.